Okay, it's another quick video from myself, Harvey Goldman. No cuts, no edits, no filters, and no hair. So for today's video, it's a very quick one about what happens when you run out of money here in the UK. So running out of money in Britain doesn't just mean that you're broke. It means that the system starts wholesale working against you. So stick around, I'm going to show you exactly what happens next. Most people, in fact, they think that hitting zero just means that you need to cut back. In the UK, though, it can quickly mean that you spiral into housing problems, debt traps, and also social exclusion, sadly. So by the end of this video, I'll have explained the brutal truth about what happens when your money runs out and also how fast things can spiral. So let's get into it. So for a start, you've got the poverty premium. Now this is massive. Being poor in the UK costs you more. And those are simple facts. Whether it's expensive credit because you're paying more in interest because you're not on enough income to get the better interest rates, whether you're paying on prepayment meters for your energy and you're getting charged marginally more by some suppliers, whether public transport suddenly becomes unaffordable. All of these things affect the poor, affect those with less money than they do those with. We've got debt escalations where local councils are absolutely ruthless, and you've only got to go on YouTube and look at a few audit videos to see this. Local councils, you miss your council tax by 4 or 5 days, you get a red letter. You miss it by another week, you get a bailiff letter. Within the month, you've got bailiffs round. That's mental. They use aggressive bailiffs as well. You get bailiffs for unpaid council tax and also other things, but mainly for council tax. Over 1 million households in the UK actually face this yearly. That's about 4% of UK homes. Now, that's a scary number. That's almost like 1 in 20. And all of this obviously produces housing insecurity, where missed rent leads to eviction threats. It leads to eventually social housing waiting lists, which, thanks to all the doctors and engineers that are coming over, are now years long, and not just 1 or 2 years. In some places, 5, 6, 7, 8 years long to get a council house. That's ridiculous. All of this insecurity then leads to universal credit struggles, where delays and sanctions and payments that are often too low anyway are delayed. And even when you get them, they don't really cover real world living costs. And I sometimes wonder who or where it's decided what makes a real living wage. Because I can guarantee you the person that's decided that you need, £12,000 a year to live on, or whatever it might be, has probably not earned less than 100k a year in their entire life. They're probably landed gentry, probably generational wealth. They've got no foot in the real world. And how are these people allowed to decide what's best for us peons? It makes little sense. It makes little sense, and it absolutely beggars belief that they're not a little bit more in touch with reality. They've only got to walk around some of the streets in Manchester, places like Sunderland, places like Derby, up the north, or even down here. I mean, Christ, walk around Torquay or Brixham or Barnstable. You see absolute horrors, and they've no idea about the real cost of living. Now, with all of this, obviously comes a social stigma. You've got loss of status. You've got social exclusion. All of this then leads to mental health crisis. And that then leads on to massive NHS waiting lists, up to 18 months to get even a phone call to deal with mental health. Come on, by then it's invariably going to be far too late. And that will eventually then lead back round to financial collapse. So it's cyclical, it's ridiculous, and that needs to be broken. 1 in 3 adults in the UK have less than £1,500 in savings. So, 33+% of people have no financial safety net. What would £1,000 do? That might, if you're frugal, with all your bills, it might last you 2-ish weeks. And after that, you're on your arse. So the cliff edge is a lot closer than most people think. Now, there has to be a way out of this. There has to be a path to resilience. So I guess you can budget. Now, budgeting is an obvious way. It's baby steps, but it's an obvious way that you can kind of help yourself and adjust to living more within your means. You've got community support, which can be massively helpful. Obviously, there may be a stigma attached to that. It may be embarrassing to have to ask for it. But look, if it gets you out of the problem, helps you find your feet, suck it up and do it. Honestly, I don't think there's any shame in asking for community support. If there were food banks, would it have taken off in the way that they have done? Debt advice services like Step Change, like Citizens Advice, they can step in and they can defer bailiffs. They can do an IFA or an IVA, which is like an independent voluntary arrangement or an independent financial agreement. And that's where if you're in debt to a company, you say, look, I can't pay you. You can't get blood out of a stone, but I'm offering to give you £5 a week, £10 a week. 9 times out of 10, that company is going to take it because it's better to get something than it is to get nothing. And you know, they're not stupid. They're in it to make money, aren't they, at the end of the day? So all of these things can help protect you a little bit. But also emergency funds. And I implore everybody, more so than ever, try, when the times are good, don't go spunking it on new cars, on new phones, on new Jordans, and on holidays. Don't do it. Resist. Put it in an emergency fund. We know that £1,000 might last you 2.5 weeks. If it takes you 3 months to find a job, do the math. You're going to need £5,000 or £6,000 to weather that storm. Think of your family. Think of what it's going to take to keep you afloat for a couple of months, should the worst happen. Try and get that safety net in place, and it can make the difference, between you spiraling or you surviving, getting yourself back on your feet, and then thriving again. So what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Have you got any experience of this? Have you had to go bankrupt? What was the stigma attached to that? Did it destroy you? Did you build yourself back up? And if so, how have you managed to change that and turn it around? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. Really keen to find out. YouTube is going to put another video there. Please give it a watch. It all helps. And like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Another video tomorrow. Goldman. Peace out.